Okay, so before I dive into this video, I've got to get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. Next week, I am on holiday. I will not be here. I will be unable to do, but there won't be any full videos until probably like Sunday at the earliest. So thank you for sticking with me. If anything major breaks, stay tuned to my YouTube shorts because I'll try and do them while I am camping. But before we do that, let's talk about Money in the Bank. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about Money in the Bank 2024. Money in the Bank is here, the stipulation in which people climb ladders, grab briefcases, and get title opportunities for the next 365 days. It is always an exciting time, and this had a lot of hype going into it. There was a lot of sort of big contenders in those matches. Your Tiffany Strattons, your Naomis, your Chelsea Greens, your Drews, your LA Knights, your Jey Usos. There's a lot of people who could have won those briefcases, as well as an Intercontinental title match, a World Heavyweight Championship match, and a big six-man tag. So it was a stacked old night of action. And how did it deliver? We'll dive into that in just a moment, but before we do, please subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below, and I'll try and reply to every single one of them as we dive into this Money in the Bank. So Money in the Bank overall, I'm a little bit unsure of. I think this was a very strange pay-per-view. And the reason I think it's strange is because I thought the in-ring action for the most part was really, really fantastic, and I enjoyed a lot of the matches on it. But I do feel like some of the booking choices were a bit odd and a bit weird and didn't necessarily sit well with me, particularly one, and you probably know what I'm going to talk about when it comes to that, but it left me feeling a little bit distant, a little bit like, okay, I'm not 100% sure on this direction. I don't know what I really want from this. And I don't know how I feel going forward and what I'm excited for, because I feel like the outcomes of these matches, for the most part, left me with matchups that I'm less interested in, if that makes sense. And we'll dive into that in just a little bit, starting with the Money in the Bank match for the men, which had LA Knight versus Carmelo Hayes versus Chad Gable versus Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso versus Andrade. This was a really fun match. I thought this was really enjoyable. There were a lot of crazy spots in here. Andrade putting his body on the line and hitting a really cool springboard leg drop on Chad Gable while he was arm barring Drew McIntyre, I believe. That was really cool. The insane reverse Spanish fly onto the ladder, that was impressive. The sunset flip onto the ladder is always impressive when Andrade does it. It wasn't as impressive as the one he did on Finn Balor that last time he was in Money in the Bank, but this was up there. And I thought they all worked really well together, and I thought that while it didn't necessarily feel like this match had a story to it, it did feel like it was just spot, 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 spot. I do feel like a lot of people got to shine, and a lot of people really got to show like their capabilities, particularly Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. I thought they came out of this match looking really, really good. Chad Gable came out of this looking really good. He got a great sequence where he was just nailing German suplexes and then caught Carmelo Hayes from a springboard into like a deadlift chaos theory. That was really cool. But the decision, and I suppose this is weird to talk about now because Drew McIntyre won. I think we all knew Drew McIntyre was going to win Money in the Bank this year. He won by knocking off Jey Uso, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with Drew winning. But what came later, I think, seriously undermines how I feel about the finish of this match and why I'm not really into it in the slightest, because I think this could have been used to elevate someone. This could have been used to elevate Jey Uso or Carmelo Hayes or Andrade. Like, just give someone who you don't think is going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase and just give them a shot to run with it. With what came later, I felt seriously underwhelmed. That it seems to me that WWE have sort of given up on Money in the Bank as a concept, because it doesn't really feel like they really care. And yeah, it just left me feeling a bit cold, a bit sort of, okay. But that's what came later. I think Drew winning in the moment, like this isolated Money in the Bank match, I really, really enjoyed, and I thought it was really, really fun. But you can't take that away from what came from the World Heavyweight Championship match, which we will get into in a little bit. But I think overall, this was a really fun and enjoyable Money in the Bank match when viewed in isolation. Then we got another strange booking decision, and that was in the Intercontinental Championship match between Sami Zayn and Bron Breakker. So a lot of people, or at least a lot of speculation going into this, was that this was going to be a squash. This was going to be Bron Breakker destroying Sami Zayn. And to an extent it was, but this was a lot more back and forth than I think it should have been. I think you really established Bron as this monster, this absolute monster who will just run through you. He will not stop for you to jump. He will run through you, and if you don't move, you are dead. That is the sort of monster that he's been established as, and I think he was pulling off some of that stuff in this match, hitting the insane Frankensteiners, going for the run around spear around the ring, and hitting the sort of gorilla press power slam. He looked awesome in the match. Sami winning with a haluva kick sort of from out of nowhere. Clean as a goddamn whistle. I'm all for clean victories, but I think with Bron, should have won. Just straight up, I think Bron should have won. I really think that you've put a lot of work and a lot of effort into his character and his sort of presence and the way he wrestles and the matches and the time that you've given him. Writing one of your characters off TV, killing Ricochet, to have him just be beaten by a haluva kick, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think this was the wrong decision. I really think that Bron Breakker should have won. I think the match overall was pretty fun, pretty fine, but I just don't think this was the right choice. And as soon as Sami got the pin, I was just sort of like, oh, we're not doing this Bron thing, which was a shame. I think it was a real shame, because Bron is great. As much as I love Sami, and as much as I've enjoyed his run so far, I think this was Bron's time. I'm worried that they won't be able to keep and maintain the aura that Bron has following this loss. And if he just wins it down the line, it seems a bit pointless. So, yeah, I really think Bron should have won. Match overall, pretty fine, pretty standard. But, yeah, wrong decision for the victor, in my opinion. Then we got the big old talking point sort of coming out of this Money in the Bank, and that is John Cena announcing his retirement. Now, this all got cleared up in the press scrum after, but Cena says he will be retiring, and he will be retiring in 2025. So he said it will be his last Royal Rumble, his last Elimination Chamber, and his last WrestleMania, but he's still got dates that he's going to do throughout the year. So seemingly he won't be retiring at WrestleMania. His last match won't be at Mania next year, which is a bit odd. I feel like it probably should be. But yeah, I think it's quite sad. I think it's sad to see Cena go. He's a staple of wrestling from when I was growing up. Obviously, growing up in the 2008 to 2011, he was the guy. He was the top guy. His feuds were the stuff that I watched all the time. His Randy Orton feud, his Edge feud, his Randy Orton feud. So yeah, it's sort of what stuck with me is Cena. And the t-shirt, I want to talk about the t-shirt for a second, because I thought the t-shirt that he was wearing was cool. The John Cena farewell tour t-shirt, that was really cool. And then he turned around and they've got that hideous door on the back of it. And I was like, why have you done that? What a waste of merch. It would have been so much cooler if the back was blank. He didn't have that hideous door on the back of his t-shirt. He doesn't have good merch to begin with, but sweet lord, just take that off the back. So yeah, Cena, if you want to see him in 2025, because otherwise you will not get a chance. I thought it was quite touching, And yeah, sad to see Cena go. And now we have the controversial match. We have Damian Priest taking on Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Overall, I thought this match was really, really good and maybe my match of the night. I really enjoyed the speed and pace that they put into this match. I thought they were going pretty hell for leather, really, with the pace. It was like they were like, come on, let's keep going. There's not going to be any rest holds in this match. And to their credit, there wasn't. There was a lot of springboards. There was a lot of dives from Seth. Seth hitting a beautiful swanton. It was really, really beautiful stuff. Great counters. They got into a great sequence towards the end where they were doing the WWE 2K24 boom, boom, and then Priest came back with a spinning kick, and then Seth came back with an elbow, and then Priest hits another spinning kick. I thought it was really kicking into that next gear. And there was a bit where I sort of missed this because I just assumed Priest was going to kick out, but I've gone back and watched it subsequently, where Seth hits the Falcon Arrow, the superplex into the Falcon Arrow combo, and Priest doesn't kick out. Like, watching it back, he doesn't kick out. I thought he just kicked out really, really late, and it was a little bit of a botch, but he doesn't kick out at all. And the ref has to, like, not count. So, bit weird there. I hope that Priest is okay and he didn't get dinged or anything like that. But then you have Drew come down. Drew comes down, cashes in his Money in the Bank contract, makes the match a triple threat, and then the shenanigans start. He gets in some offense, but in comes Punk. And Punk beats down Drew, hits him with a steel chair, hits him with the belt, hits him with everything. Throws him into the ring, South of Heaven chokeslam, 1, 2, 3. Not only does Drew lose his Money in the Bank cash in, he's the one who gets pinned. I don't like this. And I will tell you why I don't like this, because I feel like this did not need the Money in the Bank contract to be done. I think this was an utter waste of the Money in the Bank contract. You could have put it on any other of those 5 guys in that match and sort of elevated them a bit more. Putting it on Drew to basically repeat near enough the exact same angle that happened at Clash in the Castle, and then making Drew look like a complete idiot. Because for one, if you're Drew, why would you cash in and make it a triple threat where you've got more chance of losing the belt? Why would you not cash in after the match and take out either Priest or Seth, whoever's won? Because then you're one-on-one, your odds are better. And 2, was I on 2? I think I was on 2. How is he not aware that Punk's going to come and do this? Like, Punk should have ran in and Drew should have clocked him with the briefcase. 4 times he's been screwed by Punk. And he looks like a total idiot. I'm sorry, he looks like an absolute moron. And I don't like that it's wasted the Money in the Bank. I feel like it could have been used so much better. Give it to Carmelo Hayes, give it to LA Knight, give it to Jay, give it to anyone to give us like a decent run with the briefcase and sort of elevate that stipulation a bit more, because right now it just feels so mid, and I don't think this needed to be used to further the Drew Punk feud. I really, really don't. Like, and even if it was, I think the way the briefcase should have been used is you have Drew hold on to it. Don't cash in immediately. Have Drew literally disappear for about 6 months. He's not mentioned. He is not on TV. He is just gone with that briefcase. No video packages, no nothing. And then his music hits and he comes down and he cashes in on someone. Maybe CM Punk after Punk has just won the title. Who knows? This was a waste. It was a waste. I can't say anything else about it. I feel like this was a complete waste. And I like the angle overall. It's a fine angle, but I basically saw the exact same thing at Clash at the Castle. So, weird way to end the match. Not 100% here for it. And I was enjoying the match up till this. Like, this put I liked it at the time, but the more I've thought about it, the more I think it's damaging, and I'm not a fan. Not a fan of the cash in at all. Next up, we had the women's Money in the Bank ladder match as Io Sky took on Lara Valkyria, who took on Tiffany Stratton, who took on Naomi, who took on Zoe Stark, who took on Chelsea Green. This was scary in parts. This was quite scary in parts, but I had a rollicking old time with this. I think this match started off really gnarly and very sort of rough around the edges, and some pretty scary spots in this, like Zoe Stark looking like she smacked her head after going for sort of a corkscrew senton onto a ladder. That looked really nasty. You had a big old suplex into a ladder from Lara Valkyria, which looked nasty again on Io Sky. But the highlights of this match were Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green. I wanted Chelsea Green to win this match so unbelievably badly that I was crushed when she didn't win. I was absolutely crushed. When she had that hope spot at the end where she's sprinting up the ladder, it looks like they've got the shot, it looks like that hard cam shot is there, and Tiffany Stratton comes in, I was like, oh no, because there's so much you could do with Chelsea Green and Piper. Piper beats someone down, and Chelsea picks up the win with the Money in the Bank. I was so here for it. I get Tiffany Stratton's great. I really like Tiffany Stratton. I think she's exceptional. I think she is... Not that she's not ready. I just don't think she's as fully developed a character as Chelsea Green is. Like, Chelsea Green with that Money in the Bank briefcase would be insufferable, and I'd be completely here for it. And Chelsea Green as women's champion would be incredible as well. I think there was a bit more stuff you could do with that, but the idea of Tiffany Stratton having the pink briefcase, which surely we're going to get going forward, she's got to come out with a pink briefcase, and being that insufferable brat, I think that's going to work as well. This was a fun match. This was really, really fun. There was dreadful spots in it, like scary spots, but I think overall I don't have as much to say about the outcome of this as I do the men's match, because the men's match was a little bit damaging. I think this was good. This was really, really good. Like, I don't have much else to say about it, to be honest. It was just a really, really fun ladder match. And then we had the big old 6-man tag. We had Randy Orton and Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes taking on the new bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu was the highlight of this match, because of course he was. Like, Jacob Fatu and his character is so great. Everyone will be talking about the spot where he no-sold the DDT from Randy Orton. It was the best spot of the match, where his head gets driven into that canvas and he pops right back up as Randy's going for the RKO. It was sick. It was absolutely sick. I really, really loved that. But I think overall this match was pretty standard. I think my main issue with this match is I feel like I've seen this exact same match at Backlash, when it was Kevin Owens and Randy Orton taking on Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa. I just feel like I've seen this. I feel like I've seen Kevin Owens and Randy Orton feud with the Bloodline for eternity. And this didn't really add anything new to that. It added the layer of Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes being the fighting champion who eventually gets pinned by Solo Sikoa. But it also had a lot of the tropes that I don't like about Bloodline matches, like ref bumps and interference and all that stuff. Like, you could have just made this a no DQ match, really. Made it a, where were the Toronto street fight, maybe, and do it that way. Because I just felt like, other than Jacob Fatu, who was a complete badass, and I think he was easily the highlight of the match, I just felt like I'd seen this a lot, and it didn't add anything new to the pot. Just don't think it did. You had a funny spot where somehow Tangaloa botched a low blow, which it's crazy, I know, but he somehow botched a low blow. And yeah, Solo Sikoa wins. Hits the Samoan spike and pins Cody Rhodes. That's seemingly going to be the SummerSlam match, Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa. I'm unsure how to feel about that. I think I would have preferred it to be Cody Randy and get that Randy match. Maybe have the Randy heel turn here and then do Solo versus Roman at SummerSlam. But I get where they're going. I just feel like I've seen these elements interact a lot. And as much as it you have added Tama Tonga and Tongaloa and Jacob Fatu, it still feels a bit been there, done that. And this was a fun 6-man tag. I don't know if it was necessarily like pay-per-view quality. Really great TV main event, in my opinion. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid way to end the show. I think overall, I would have ended the show with Priest versus Seth. I think that was a more impactful ending and elevates that title a bit more. This didn't have a big angle coming after it, so I was a bit confused as to why this main evented. I think the Drew cashing in, Priest, as much as it didn't sit well with me, I think it would have made for a hotter ending than this one did. So that capped off the show. No big return at the end. That was it. Overall, Money in the Bank, I'd give it a 3 out of 5. I think it was totally fine. This was like a totally fine pay-per-view. Nothing blow away, nothing insane that I will probably remember in like a year's time. But I think it was fun while I watched it. It was like, how can I describe it? It was like a great Big Mac, you know? Serviceable at the time, enjoyable at the time, but am I going to think about that Big Mac in a week? Probably not. That's the best way I can describe Money in the Bank. But I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Were you a fan? Were you not? Let me know and I'll try and apply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support and have a nice day.